building, training, leading, recruiting a sales team from 0 to over $100 million in 3 years for a B2B start commission-only sales team. So today I want to talk about building your A sales team, so your talent management. So getting the right salespeople on board is super important, right? But first, let's just establish first you have to have an incredible sales strategy, a sales playbook, a fully scripted sales presentation, visual elements. All of your sales collateral has to be done before you bring on your first salesperson, especially professionally. Don't waste their time with, expecting them to generate leads or not having a process in place. You really want to create something that anybody can come in and on day one, get trained in a week and then start selling on week 2. So if that sounds impossible, then you really need to have a process well-defined and a sales onboarding process that's really well-defined in a training program. So that's what we do. But assuming you have that in place, you've got a duplicatable, predictable sales strategy that closes deals at a predictable rate. We won't talk about what the rate is because it is different depending on your industry. But if you're not closing 50% off of your presentations or demos, there's lots of room for improvement, at least according to my experience and also the marketing studies done by Marketing Sherpa and by HubSpot. So on, collecting various data from all different companies about their closing rates. So if you're less than 50, you're average, and we're not going for average, right? So don't be satisfied with the status quo. But what we're going to talk about today is once you have that strategy in place, bringing on the right salespeople to implement it, because people matter, right? You get the wrong person in that chair, it doesn't matter how great your strategy is, it's just not going to yield results. So that's what I wanted to share some tips with you today, 4 things to look for in salespeople, and let you know about our assessment that we do here at JPM Sales Partners, which is Stealthy Q, the undercover sales etiquette assessment, where we can help you assess candidates that you're considering to hire. So you've got the strategy and now it's time to find the people, right? Do not expect anybody that you bring on into sales to develop that strategy for you, okay? Unless they're like, someone like me who's built a $100 million sales team from scratch and knows how to do it. And that's what they're going to do for you full time. But often I see entry level or mid-level people coming in and trying to, develop, and maybe they think they can do it. Right. So that's also, part of the problem, but don't hire people expecting them to develop the sales scripting and the sales presentations and all that. Okay. And the sales process. Rely on experts to do that so you can get people in chairs to actually just implement it and do the work. And it'll also be a lot cheaper for you because you won't have to pay super high experience levels. Okay, so now one thing I often get when I'm helping people recruit for salespeople, because that's how JPM started, was as a sales recruiting firm. So I know how to do that. I can help people put salespeople in place, was this really heavy reliance on resumes. And traditionally in hiring, resumes are traditionally how people, assess skills and experience. But in sales, at least you can throw that out the window, okay? Because I'm telling you, resumes have very little to do with predicting sales performance, okay? Plus, I recently found out that sometimes people, can you believe it? So if you're going by a resume, even to do your initial pre-screening, if you're throwing people out based on their resume or allowing people through based on their resume, it's really difficult. You might be throwing away good people. And also, again, people lie on their resume. So it's really not a great way. But what a great sales recruiter is going to do, and a great hiring manager, someone knows how to manage and train salespeople because you've worked with hundreds of people in the past, is they're going to know what to look for to assess that without having a resume. So even when, we'd collect resumes of a formality, but I really never even looked at them. It's something you throw out the window, and you'll see that as you go higher up in the hiring process, the resume becomes very less and less important to the hiring manager. So here's a couple of things that you should look for that their resume won't tell you. Okay, one is character, right? Above all, who are they as a person? Do they have the moral and ethic values that match your company, right? Did they lie on their resume? Did they lie at any point in the sales process? And a lie is a lie, right? So if someone's going to lie or, expand upon the truth or leave things out, that's not a good sign. You really have to look at the interview process as a magnification for what's going to happen down the line. So because someone lied once during the interview process, does that mean they're going to lie later? I don't know, but my best guess is I'm not going to wait 6 months to find out if someone's going to be lying to me, right? So I'm going to use the interview to tell me that. So one is character. Two is personality. So why am I not showing up at all on Facebook? Sorry, guys. I'm here. Two is personality. So is this someone that you hang out with? Now, have they done the job of convincing you that you should like them? That's their job, right? As a salesperson, the first thing you do is develop a relationship with your customer. So if the salesperson hasn't done a great job of convincing you that, like, hey, you don't have to be best friends, but would it be torturous to have a cup of coffee with this person? Right? You want to hire the people. Yes, the video skipping, Mom. Thanks for letting me know. If you don't want to hire people that would be torturous to sit down and have coffee with, right? So that's number two, is personality. And, that has nothing to do with culture or how they fit in the team. That's just like, you want to have a diverse team of all different kinds of personalities. You don't want to have like 10 people that all look the same and act the same. You need that diversity to have different perspectives on your market. Your market's going to be diverse, so you want diverse types of people. But as far as personality, like, do I want to sit down with this person? And this goes back. Another thing I wanted to mention about why resumes don't matter is overcoming unconscious bias is something that's really important to me and something that I really share in my sales recruiting strategies, because and unconscious bias is the bias we have against people that we don't know we have, right? Because it's so ingrained in culture that we can't help but have it play a part in our decision. And not only do we all have some sort of unconscious bias, but the people that hired or worked with the people before us also had unconscious bias. So when you're looking at someone's resume, it's all a product of what that company was, what the culture of that company was. If someone moves around a lot, does that mean they were bad at their job, or they're really smart and they get bored easily? And there was no like plan for, moving up in the company. There was no compensation plan that was keeping them tied there, that they would want to stay there. There's so many factors that go into it. So it's another reason I throw it out the window. Number three is work ethic. So work ethic, of course, then you can't tell on a resume. And remember, a lot of green salespeople maybe coming right out of college, someone has to be the first person to teach them work ethic, right? So as much as you'd love to have someone come in like totally polished and ready to go, understand if you're hiring green people, like, you're going to be that person, and that's okay. It's something that you can teach them quickly and set expectations. And when they don't reach them or don't want to, change or learn, then it's a great reason to let them go. So work ethic, and you can see that in the sales process by looking at, how long does it take them to respond to things? Are there spelling or grammatical errors in their emails or in anything they submit to you? Did they show up early to the interview or late or not at all, right? Did they, there's so many things that go into it, right? How did they present themselves when they came to the interview? And the final thing is not intelligence, but emotional intelligence. So I place emotional intelligence higher than so EQ over IQ, so emotional quotient over intelligence quotient. Being smart is great, but in sales, it can actually hurt people because they can tend to be more towards on the analytical side. And sales is emotional. It's about making an emotional connection with a person's problem and showing them a vision and a picture of how they can overcome it. So oftentimes, if you're hiring someone like super analytical, it doesn't mean that they can't change and learn, but it does mean that if that's what you keep doing, that might be the reason why you're having a problem converting, because super smart people are having a problem connecting on an emotional level with their clients. That being said, people will rebut and say, well, our product's really complicated and we need a smart person to sell our product. Like, let me pull that back for you, because if you need to be able to sell a product to your client in less than an hour time. So if your product isn't something that you have a sales message that can clearly explain what it does and what problem it solves in less than an hour, then you've got to clean that up so that you have a clear message that hits right to the pain points in the solution. Having a complicated product means it's even more important that you create a message and a sales strategy that anyone, a fifth grader, could understand. And then as far as emotional intelligence, how do they connect with people? Do they understand the emotional journey of a client? So that's really those are the things that we look to assess when we do our sales assessments. And I'll put a link below for you guys if you want to learn more about how we do that with people. We basically charge a flat rate. If you've already pre-screened the candidates, then we'll do our assessment on an interview, and we'll give you your results with a layout of where they stand in different categories and where you'll need to spend extra time on training and development in certain areas for them when they do come on board. So also something with work ethic, I failed to mention was that's something you could quickly ascertain in the first couple of weeks of them working with you. So you've got to have strict guidelines of like, when do we let people go and why? And you don't have to wait months or a year to find out if someone is going to be a great salesperson. All right, I'll let you go with that and start your Mondays. Have a wonderful week. Remember why you're doing this in the first place, your bigger purpose, and let that drive you towards making change and leading your next 7, 8, 9, 10 figure sales team. Have a great day. Bye.